Well, you know, when you apply for a job, the boss usually says, "What are you making now?" And you go, "Well, I'm making blah, blah, blah." And they say, "Well, how about would you take this or would you take that?" Well, if you live in Massachusetts, can't do that anymore. It's become the first state to prohibit employers from asking about applicants' salary histories during job interviews. The state's new law requires companies to state a compensation figure they want to give you up front with no influence about what you are making now. The law designed to close the wage gap between men and women, will it work, is illegal. Robert Schalk is a defense attorney, and former prosecutor David DiPietro, former prosecutor, joins us both. Robert and David, good to see you. Robert, let me start with you. I mean, what does this mean? You show up, usually they say, well, they look at your history, your resume, you know, and they want to give you, they'll say, we'll take you if you give you like 10 or 20% more. But now they can't do that.
Right, or some applications even will ask right on it, what are you currently making at your prior employment? And the reason businesses claim to do it is that they can eliminate people who are either asking for too much money, potentially are overqualified for those positions. Massachusetts is obviously trying to close the gender gap here by not allowing employers to say, well, how much are you making now? But again, it's a small piece of the puzzle to close that gap, but I question how effective it's going to be, because there's going to be ways for employers. There's going to come a point in time when they start negotiating compensation and salary where an applicant's going to have to almost tip their hand and say, this is what I'm looking for, or this is kind of where I'm at, and they're going to know. So again, I think it's a good idea, but the applicability of it, I don't know how it's going to close the gap.
David, do you think it's more symbolic, or do you think it actually can have teeth?
I think actually the big winner in this entire legislation will be the governor of Massachusetts, a Republican governor. He got really great bipartisan legislation through, but the real teeth and the effect of it, I don't really know what it's going to do other than more lawsuits, more lawyers getting involved in litigation with employment-related matters. There is a disparity, and I applaud the governor for trying to bring...
Charlie Baker, he was a businessman.
Correct, and he's trying to bring women and fight for women's employment salary rights or what have you, but the actual effect of it, I don't really see what teeth this is actually going to have, because like my colleague said, there's going to be ways to figure out. Once the negotiation process starts, we're going to be able to figure out how much money you were really making. It's not too hard to really deduce it, but nonetheless, it's a good faith effort to bring women and their employment up to the level where men are currently.
I mean, look, you're right. You can laud the goal and the mission, because women apparently in the workforce make 79 cents to every $1 that a man makes. But I mean, James was pointing out, you show up in your BMW, or if you got a BMW, if you got a used BMW, I don't even have a used BMW, and they're going to know right off the bat, or as you said, they can go ring, 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 call up.
Right. I mean,
Fox
you're going to have references on your resume. Not only that, most people work in industries which are usually smaller industries in their state or in their community. If you're going from, again, I'm an attorney. If I'm going from one law firm to another, they're going to check my references. They may be friends. They may be able to say HR person to HR person, hey, this is the compensation package
Everyone knows everybody else.
Correct.
I mean, like they all know it. If you're in an industry or small business, they kind of generally know where you are, don't they?
Yeah, and the one that'll hurt the most is small businesses, because I own a small law firm, small business. I have employees that do various aspects. They don't have a quote job title. So how are you going to have a comparison when my office manager is sort of my paralegal, and sometimes she'll pick up the phone if someone calls in sick? How do you make that comparison? So really, small businesses are going to be the folks that are hurt the most, other than the corporate businesses where they have job titles and job descriptions and numerosity in that position.
So finally, 20 seconds left. How do you think it's going to work out?
Well, I think that obviously this is a more national question. I think with the election coming up, there has been bills that have been put before Congress that haven't gotten through, but hopefully this is a national, debate that comes up and a national question that can get answered.
12 states now, David. Think it'll spread?
I think it'll spread federally eventually. I just don't know the effect, the teeth it'll actually have.
I know, it's interesting. I mean, you're going to fess up anyway. You don't have to bring out the rubber hose. They say, what are you making? You'll say, anyway. Robert and David, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Zach.
Arthel?
Thanks, guys.